countdown. That's cute.
Yeah. So we are live. Welcome to Social PR Live. And this is a whole new series. So wrapped up um, our we wrapped up our 13 episode series last week. And this is a whole new series that is called, well, this one show is called Italian Breadcrumbs. But before I bring on my very special guest who's sitting over there to the side of me, I just want to talk about what we're going to do next, because I really like doing this show and I'm getting good feedback, but I want to keep it fun and I want to keep it engaging. So what I came up with was um, well, let me tell you first what I'm going to do with the 13 videos from the last series, and then I'll tell you where we're going. So the last series was called it's Social PR Live, but it is basically my social PR process. And I'm going to take the entire series, all 13 videos, and I'm going to turn them into a content upcycling project similar to the work that I do with my own clients. I'm going to be my own client. Revolutionary, I know. So I'm going to build it into a cornerstone article series on my blog. I will include it in my newsletter. I can create a ton of social media around this. And then I'm going to turn the process of creating it into a self case study and share that. So, it's two for the price of one. You learn the strategies and you learn what to do with them and how to re-strategize the strategies. So as I started to think about these shows, I was paying attention to what made me smile and what made me happy and what made me want to keep doing this. And then I also received some valuable feedback. And I like the sprint. I like doing the series, the small series. I don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. I want to keep this fun and engaging and fresh and new. So what I am thinking is of doing a series of 12 to 15 weekly shows that focus on either one topic or one type of format. And then the one thing I kept coming back to is there's so much bad stuff happening online. People are miserable. They're fighting with each other. They're arguing. They've all become instant experts on one thing or another. I don't want to do any of that. I want to celebrate. I want to celebrate the good stories. I want to celebrate the good things that happen, the relationships that spark out of nowhere. Just being present in conversations and listening and connecting with the right people and following those breadcrumbs, those Italian breadcrumbs, to see where they go. There might be other breadcrumbs too, but today we're going to focus on Italian breadcrumbs. But what happens? What happens when you just take that conversation one step further, when you see somebody who's interesting and you just say hi? So I've already started putting together a list. I don't have it totally together yet, but I will be announcing that shortly. And I'm going to shoot for 12 to 15 people that have interesting stories and have had interesting experiences. And I'll announce it soon. If you know anybody that needs to be interviewed in this series, please introduce us, because I always love to meet new people. But today we have our first guest. And interact in the chat. If you're watching this on a recording, interact. We'll come back. Both John and I will come back and respond. But I want to introduce you to somebody who has become very special in my life in a very short period of time. John DeMato of DeMato Productions. And the idea for this series was sparked in our most recent Grill Your Business session that my entrepreneurial brother and I, John, do about quarterly. Just seems to happen that way. So, of course, he needed to be my first guest. And I think you're going to love his stories. So, John, introduce yourself.
I will introduce myself. I am a branded lifestyle photographer, content creation expert, and I serve speakers, authors, and coaches to help them create the content that they need to present themselves memorably and powerfully through their online presence.
And he's being a little modest too. I just put his hashtag and his link in the chat, but he's photographed some pretty incredible people. Not just me.
I was going to say, let's start with you while we're here.
So I'm going to just dive right in. And let's, I seem to have cut our heads off here somehow. Let me see if,
We can't have that.
no, do you see it too?
No, you're good.
Okay,
You're good.
all right. You're not good?
I'm okay. I'm good.
Oh, okay. All right, it must just be on my side. Never mind. Okay, so let's just dive right in and let's talk about how we met, because this is where the Italian breadcrumbs started, right? Do
Is
you want
this,
to?
yeah, is this where you want me to talk about how you talk shit to me because I was talking about a post online about asking people how to buy more people, and you basically commented on that post and said, if you're buying people, you're not talking to the right people. That
Exactly, exactly that one.
I feel really good about myself because I was obviously wasting money.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. The interestingly enough about that conversation was that I did not know who you were. I was not sure who this person was that was casting aspersions on my wonderful, amazing strategy that I had. And a mutual connection of ours, Pia Silva, chimed in and basically validated to me that you know what the hell you're talking about and I should shut my mouth and listen. Shut up and listen. And that ended up in a 2-hour-long conversation about music and growing up, for you growing up in Brooklyn, me growing up in Queens, and talking about stuff that had absolutely nothing to do with Instagram, buying viewers, social media, or anything that revolves around owning a business. And that conversation is what started this entire thing, because the rapport, the connection, the commonalities, the relatableness of our stories and our lives is exactly what creates relationships. It's the whole point of being on social media. It's to find the people that tune exactly into your frequency. You resonate, your message resonates, your life is interesting, there's commonalities, and that is exactly why we do all of these things. And it was wonderful.
It was. And then the breadcrumbs continued to crumble. So we decided, this is something that neither of us really do very often, but we decided that we were going to barter services, because he obviously needed to know more about Instagram and I needed pictures because the ones that I had sucked. And we worked together. So we had, I had him come up to my house where I live. We only live about an hour from each other, and we ripped his business apart, and he left here a shaking mess.
I'm still emotional from that first one. I had no idea what the hell you were doing. It was like a tsunami of information, and I was vulnerable. I was crying on the inside. I had no clue. And I'm like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do half the stuff that she's talking about, because I don't know, first of all, half of what she's talking about. And then it changed.
And then it changed.
And then it marinated. And then I slowed down, and then I started to digest these interesting elements of what you were talking about, this whole concept of listening and engaging and talking to the right people, and not talking to everyone, talking to a specific type of person, and the way in which that you get in front of those people. It all started to sink in. And that's when the change started to happen.
Yeah. But what John's not telling you is that he had a mountain of content that he has created. He has written 3 posts a week for how long? I'm talking blog posts, not social media posts.
Since August of 2017 all the way up to April of this year, I have 13
yeah, and he has his stuff written and scheduled and done months in advance. And nobody was seeing this amazing content, because it wasn't just about photography. We all have that underlying skill that we don't talk about. John's underlying skill is he sees people. He sees who people are on the inside. And when we got to my end of the barter, and he came up to my house and we did a photo shoot, he also didn't share what his background is. You want to tell people what you did before you started your business? So before I go into my end of this?
Yes, I come from the television world. I was a television producer. I worked on the Maury Show, the talk show. And so I've worked with a lot of interesting people, a lot of interesting personalities. Yeah.
And he knows how to pull out humanity, whether it's good or bad.
That's the best way you say that. So thank you for that. And yes. Yeah.
And that will be a blog post sometime in May because he's already written all the way up to April.
No, that was 3 times already in different incarnations.
So anyway, when he came up to my house, I had my hair done and the makeup done and pulled out all the clothes. And he came into my house and ripped through all the clothes. The hair and the makeup was done. We go outside. We start shooting. We're shooting inside. He moved this is how I got my office in my house. He moved all the furniture and he created this office because my desk was shoved up on a wall somewhere. I work from home. He created this beautiful office in my dining room that I still use. I mean, when we moved the furniture back, I started to cry. And like 2 days later, I moved it back and I claimed the space as mine. But what really happened is he took pictures of me like I have never had done before. When I saw them, I was terrified because I didn't know who that person was. I didn't see that person. He saw something in me that I couldn't see. And he does this over and over and over again. I hear this from his clients. I know a lot of them. I've worked with some of them. I've met them, and they say the same thing. He saw something in me I didn't see. And it's not a fake thing or a phony thing or trying to be somebody you're not. What he does is he pulls out who you really are. And that's a gift. That's not just, a skill of photography. That's a gift of knowing how to interact with people. And part of the whole social media thing that most people miss entirely because they just want to give it to somebody else to do and they don't want to be part of it is they just push stuff out there and they're missing that whole part of listening, of engaging, of connecting, of sprinkling those breadcrumbs, of following those breadcrumbs, of just showing up to say hi to somebody that you admire. I mean, there are so many ways to connect with people. And, I think he does an amazing job of it. He's, in addition to his photography work, which is beautiful and the skill is amazing. He knows how to take that and turn that into something meaningful online.
Well, first of all, thank you. Always thank you for saying that. The thing about why I do that, it's not just the what, it's the why.
Yeah.
And the why for me is because the people that I serve, the people that I collaborate with, people like yourself, you have an inherent gift of service within you that you are so passionate about, that you are so dedicated to, that it's your life and you believe every word you say. I take to heart the fact that what you have to offer is absolutely vital for other people to hear. And that's all of my clients, all of my speaker, author, coach clients. They have value. They want to be out there. So the way that you do that is by leveraging the tools with which we are given in order to get that message out there. And I take very, very high responsibility with the piece when it comes to the visual image piece, because that's the first thing that people see. And that's the first thing you're judged on. It's not even the words on the website. It's the image. Because the image is the visual punctuation of who you are, who you serve, and why you do what you do. So when I work with someone, I make sure that we figure out before they even get anywhere near a camera, anywhere near a light, that we understand those 3 questions about who they are. And that's how we shape and craft the entire, well, we went through this, but
yeah. No, but I want everyone else to understand too. Before he even meets you to work with you, he what is it, like an hour or 2 hours on the phone? 2 hours on the phone of just getting to know who you are and what you're about. And like we did like a FaceTiming with my closet. He's like, what do you got in there? Let me, and this was before he came. And like, I had all the clothes laid out on the bed in different outfits, and he starts moving things around and, telling, I put some clothes on. He's like, no, change that and put that and go get those pants and those shoes. And
my outfits that I'm a fashionista. I mean, come on.
No, but and just the other thing that he does too that's really special that most photographers don't do is he really thinks of the social piece, because like he was saying, the image is the first impression, but when the image matches the words that people see when they start to read through your stuff, that's the trust builder right there. That's the thing that makes them come back, because they resonate with each other. It's not like there's this discourse between what you look like and what you sound like. And he had me open books. He had me bring props. He took pictures of my Raggedy Ann doll. He took pictures of this
Oh,
sand globe that I have.
well,
And he's like, well, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to write about? Where's your content calendar? And I'm like, whoa. But I had enough images from that one photo shoot to last me for like over a year of social media and different things that I was doing, and I don't even use stock photos anymore. And I used to use them a lot.
Yeah, well, don't even talk about that.
I mean, he gives you the whole suite of images that you're going to need. And I just did a presentation recently, and it was like maybe a 50 slide presentation, and I think there were 3 stock photos in the whole thing.
Yeah.
The rest were all either pictures from John or pictures I took.
Yeah, no, and it makes all the difference in the world because it feels so much more uniquely you. Because you're using the photos in a way that visually punctuates all of the sentiments that you're sharing with people. And it really helps reinforce all of the nuggets of information that, you're sharing with people. So,
yeah. Lynn was just asking, I think she thought she missed how we met. Yeah, John had posted up online that, he had a question about why his Instagram tanked. And I weighed in with a whole list of reasons why it might have happened. And then I was like, did you buy followers? And he didn't technically buy them, but he did activity that bought them. So he needed some schooling.
It's so funny thinking about that because it was only a year and change ago that happened, but yet it's that mindset that I need more people, I need more, I need to go here, I need to go there. It's like, no, you don't. What you need to do is assess who you know, understand how they are within relation to who you are, how you know them. And it's about listening to what they say and understanding what's going on and getting all of the intelligence that you need through the conversations of the people that you already know. Yeah. And build out from within rather than going out to, you know what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah.
And the funny part about that is it seems like a lot of the noise that's on social is all about buy, grow. And it's just so, it's not disconcerting is the wrong, it is disconcerting though, and it is, but it's more just frustrating. Yeah. That there's not enough of people out there that truly understand where we're going with this direction of the whole online space and in particular social, and how people really need to tap into those people and those communities that they want to work with,
Well, what if we challenge some of the people online here, instead of trying to 10x your bottom line, what if you try to 10x your relationships?
Yeah.
And Lynn here is she in the chat. She said she spies a "Be Good to People" bracelet.
There it is. It's right next to my "No Let Up" bracelet, which is right next to my, which you can't see, but it's my absolutely bracelet. Yeah. Yeah. It's not just fashion; it's a way of life. All three of them. All of them. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how we met. So, and we the next topic I was going to go into is the stories, but we've already told quite a few of those. John, do you have any other stories you want to share?
With regard to where do you want to go with this?
Yeah, anything like what happened on social media that you never would have expected. I mean, when you were a producer at the Maury show,
yeah.
Like give something that if somebody would have told you this story, 5 or 6 years ago when you were still working, you would have just said, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. and you wouldn't have believed it.
Okay. Well, my business. We could
your life.
Yeah, because this is not just a cute hashtag that you helped create for me and building. It's actually a lifestyle, because for many years when I was working in the television industry, there was a lot of, on my end, there was a lot of confusion, which resulted in a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, a lot of just kind of moving through my life with a lot of momentum and no thought and no purpose. There was no purpose. And if someone 5-6 years ago were to say, you're going to quit your job, you're not going to have a plan, you're going to figure this shit out as you go, and it's going to be something that you have no concept of today, but it's going to be something that is uniquely you in your own voice, with your own words and your own style, I would have said they're full of shit. That's a waste of my time. Why the hell would I want to work for myself? Fast forward to now, and the reality is that now that there is this thing that I have, this business, this is my baby. It's a living thing to me. Everything I do, it's a living thing where I believe in every single word that I say, and I'm passionate about it, and there's a purpose behind it. And now I'm focused on creating a certain level of a presence online where I actually have a legacy. I never thought of that phrase ever, oh, my legacy. Oh, that's for fancy people, oh, that's for people who have money and they want to like leave. No, it's about service. It's all based on service, by creating a business around my art that does not compromise my integrity. That phrase I have written dozens of times, and it would have never existed had I not jumped out the window 4.5 years ago and gone on this insane journey that has weaved and gone and moved, and panic attacks, freaking out, no idea what I was going to do, looking up jobs 6 months into starting this thing and having no clue where I was going. And then what ends up happening is what did I do? I started going on social media. I started talking to people. I started finding out about networking events. I started meeting different people that were inspiring folks in different ways, and they introduced me to other people, and then you find these people through their ecosystems on social, and it kind of builds and builds, and the next thing you know, I'm affiliated with all of these different types of groups, and I'm doing work with high level people that are ass kickers, doing amazing things for people. I have no idea what the next 5 years are going to look like, but I do understand that at the end of the day, there is a purpose, there is a goal, there is a mission, there is a belief that what I do matters, and it helps people, and that's pretty awesome.
It is. It really is, and it. I think we can all relate to that. We've all done this. We've all whatever we started doing when we started our businesses. I'm sure we're not doing the same thing. I mean, I started my business with a virtual assistance business, and I had a filing cabinet, a bad website, and a business card. And I didn't know what to do. So I sat in my basement for 3 months going, I wonder what people need. And then social media popped up not long after that. And that's how I found out what people needed. I really started to listen in on what people wanted, and where they had problems and how I can fix the things. And one thing led to another. And I have this entirely designed business that just happened out of, one following the breadcrumbs, right? I had a client that needed me to learn SEO. So I learned SEO. She needed me to do PR. So I did PR. I needed to learn and teach people how to do this. So I built a training course, and I had no intentions of doing any of that. So, everybody that's on this stream today, I met through social media. And the thing is I think really show people who you are, and you show your heart, and you show that you're honest and that you care. The right people just show up in the right places, but you've got to be listening. Lynn posted up something this morning about being curious. And it's really, without the curiosity piece, you miss so much, because all the opportunity is right behind the curiosity. It's like lurking there and hiding there and challenging you to find it. And when you are not curious, somebody else finds it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe it's not meant for you, but if you're not curious, how do you even know? I have been telling my clients for years, just approach it with the curiosity of a child. Poke it, see what happens when you poke it, see if it pokes back. And you have to like what you're doing. The only thing harder than this is raising kids. So you have to really love it, and it has to show in everything that you do, because if you don't, people will see that too, and they're going to see that you're just kind of going through the motions to make money, and that's not what it's about. It's about really, like John was saying, it's about service, it's about helping people, it's about connecting people, and everything should build towards something bigger and better than what you are and what you're currently doing. And that's what this whole series is going to be about, sharing stories like this and connection and how people met. And there's one story that for early on, when I was a virtual assistant, there was somebody that I met through a virtual assistant forum. And at the time, this was in like 2006, I think there were maybe 50 or 60 virtual assistants in the world. There wasn't a lot of us. And she lives in Northern Canada. But we had these parallel lives. She had a son the same age as Matthew. We had difficult co-parenting situations. We were both just starting our business and making no money at all. It was really hard. And we just had these parallel lives. And she was throwing out her husband, and she was afraid. And I stayed with her on Skype all day long while she threw him out, to make sure that she would be okay. And I had the numbers of all the places to call if there was an issue, and thankfully that there wasn't. But that's a really strong connection to have with somebody that you've never actually met. And we don't speak that often anymore, but whenever we do, it's like the time never left. It's like we've known each other our whole lives and we've never even met. And it's just amazing the kind of relationships that you could build and the good things that happen on social media. So my whole intention with this is to spread the word and get rid of some of the bad. So we're going to get back to John's story now and talk about how he got his hashtag.
Yes. So we were doing one of the strategy days at your house. This was probably, I think it was the second one. I think it was. So it was less overwhelming, still completely overwhelming. I needed a good cry afterwards. But out of that conversation, you're like, talking to me, you need a hashtag. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? And we probably went through, I don't remember how many ideas, but it was quite a few, bullshitted back and forth about it. And then, you said to me, you say yeah, absolutely a lot. I'm like, I say yeah, absolutely a lot. She goes, yeah. I'm like, I like that. She's like, use it as a hashtag. I'm like, sure. I think it's kind of snappy and cute. I think it works. And then I let it marinate a little bit, and I thought about it, and I said, and as I was thinking back to the time that I had mentioned before about being very, very no-centered, very resentful and angry, and very stuck in my own place and in my own way. And now, after having gone through a lot of personal development, worked with a lot of coaches, and gone through a positive psychology course where I learned a lot of things about what really motivates us as human beings based on science. And I realized that, yeah, absolutely is not just a cute and snappy, happy little rinky-dink thing I'm just going to throw around and, ooh, it's going to get attention. It actually deeply resonates with me on every level possible. And that's where that thing started. And now I put it everywhere. I walk around with a billboard of it all the time, because at the end of the day, all I wear are black T-shirts. As I told you when I created the first shirt, I was like, I'm already wearing black T-shirts. Might as well put a little white paint on it. I think it looks cool. I think it's a good message. And the fact is that I own yeah, absolutely to the cows come home, because it really truly means it encapsulates everything of where I am and who I am and what I do.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
And it works so well on social media too, because it's just that little, boom at the end, right? It's like you say whatever you're going to say. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like just saying, you know.
Someone pointed out to me the other day that said, you know, I love all your posts. I love what you're doing with your business, but what's the deal with putting "yeah, absolutely" on the end of everything? I'm like, who does that? And I responded, I do. That's my brand. That's my life. That's who I am. I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing more uniquely me than this hashtag, period. And it's now starting to gain traction because it's not something that happens over the course of a week or a month. This thing to start to really ingrain into people's minds, it takes time because social media is a long game. And people who are under the impression that anything's going to make any kind of change within like 3 seconds is under the wrong impression. This is an investment of your time because it's worth your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Look at that. It's catchy.
Look at you right on cue. That's adorable. But it's true. It's true. The fact is, it puts a smile on your face. Do you know?
It does.
When I wear this, or if I go out on the street, or I'm at an event, or I'm at a bar, you know how many people like, that's cool. What is that? Like, it's not just a hashtag; it's a way of life.
And that's one of the things that people often miss with social media too, is they forget to use the terminology and the phrases that they'll use online in real life, because people are gonna post what you're saying if they like what you're saying. And if they are posting your words and your hashtags and your phrases from their accounts, that's way better than you posting from your accounts. So, you know, he's just like a walking billboard for himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
With integrity.
It's true. It's true. And the reality is that I think what a lot of people, and it's starting to break down, and it's starting to become more commonplace as people like you get the message out about what this whole social thing really needs to be about, is the fact that we are not, social media and life are not independent things. They are one ecosystem known as humanity. We live on relationships. That is what drives us as human beings. It's the same thing that we need to do in social. If you were to talk to someone in real life as if it were a drip feed and it was just, who the hell would want to listen to you? That is not how you start a conversation.
They don't even want to listen to you on a drip feed.
Exactly. The point is that this, I know that authenticity is an overused word and it has become a little bit dirty, but the reality is the thought behind it, the fact that you're coming to someone with a genuine sense of curiosity. You mentioned curiosity before, you know, and you're talking to people as if you're trying to understand, is this person like me? Is this person, does their way they see the world in line with the way that I see the world? It's the same thing in real life.
Yeah.
And I think once people really truly immerse themselves in that thought and understand that everything that you do on social is the same way that you would do it in real life, there'd be a lot less noise and a lot less garbage on social that we all have to kind of, it's like we're in space and all of the old satellites are just zipping by us and we got to weave through all that shit to get to the, you know, to get to a place where it's, you know, there's clarity and it's just not.
I was on the phone with a client the other day and they're like, you know, they were telling me things that people told them to do. And I was like, they were like, should I do that? I said, no. Should I do that? No. Should I do that? No. And then they said, what should I do? I said, just say hello. Start there. And they just they didn't believe it could be that easy, but it really can be that easy. I mean, what would you do if you met somebody in the street? Would you, you know, strategize them? No, you would say hello. Do the same thing. Let the strategies get built in the background to do the work in the background to kind of make sure that you're positioned in the right places. And when you show up as a person, say hi.
Exactly. No, exactly. I was going to say, it's the same way that we started talking. When you start with a place where it's common ground that has nothing to do with the nuts and bolts and the meat and potatoes of what you're talking about in terms of how you can serve each other, it's about that common ground. That's it.
Yep. Tell them about how you and Maurice met and started a business together.
Um, Maurice is, first of all, he's co-founder of Screw the Metadata, which is a photography community based on helping other photographers learn how to create a memorable and referable online business. And we met a couple of years ago through social media, because around the time we were both a part of a online headshot photographer community. Once upon a time, I just shot headshots, and that's where I got my part of my foundational elements to what I'm doing now. But and I knew of him. I didn't know him. I never talked to him. And then one day, out of the blue, he pops out like a ninja and comments on something that I wrote. And then we started a conversation in the chat on Facebook. And he basically said that the stuff that I've been writing, which is the content that you were referring to before, the blogs, how I talk about stuff that's beyond, you know, how do you, you know, make sure your hair looks right for a session. It's like those things are important, but, you know, I talk a lot more emotional stuff and different elements and all of that. And it really attracted him to what I was doing with the branded lifestyle portraits. And fast forward, a year later, we now have a business together.
And where does he live?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, he lives in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And social. I was just cursing Facebook before, because before I got on the, I was about to say before I got on the horn with you, before we got on this video call, I was talking to him and Facebook was clicking in and out, and I was cursing Facebook, and then I stopped. There was a third person on the call. I'm like, I'm not mad at Facebook. It's because of Facebook that I have a business.
Exactly. Exactly. But in a year's time, he met some guy from the Netherlands. And this is the part that I love the most, is that the part that John does and the part that Maurice does in the business, they fit together like a glove. I mean, it's just, you know, it's like if somebody just created a list of every single thing that needed to be done in this business and cut it in half and gave one sheet to John and one sheet to Maurice, they're perfectly skilled to do their part. And I mean, like, where do you find that? And he found some guy in the Netherlands. Where was he going to find him? Working at the Maurice show. So, I just love that part.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even been looking at him there. But
yeah, so it's just, you know, I mean, it's just amazing. This is where the opportunities lie. And it came, this is another thing. It came from a comment. So there was no big strategy around that. That's how we met too. It came from a comment. So commenting is a really strong strategy on social media. Comment on other people's posts.
But may I add to that, Donna? It's not a nice post.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. No.
Or what really gets my attention when people comment on my stuff, and by the way, I read every single comment that anyone writes to me, and I try to engage every single one. But really, the thing is that people don't get. It's like and comment, It's like, it's not like a formula. It's when you read it. How do you feel when you read it? Share that. Why? Because the person who writes it is going to appreciate that exponentially more than if you just write nice post or thank you or thumbs up, something like that. There needs to be some sense of understanding that you read it, you understand what it is there, and you're spitting back something that illustrates the fact that you appreciate the effort that that person took to write that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And David Parmit's here. He's saying, sell the shirts.
How much are you gonna buy it for? We're getting there. I actually, it's funny that he brings that up, because I'm actually in a place where I'm trying to think about what it is that I want to do. I want to build something around this hashtag that's bigger than what it is right now. And I'm trying and talking to you about, and I haven't even talked to you about this yet, by the way, off of this, but I'm trying to figure out a way in which I can use the absolutely philosophy, the thinking behind it, what it means to me, and how I can kind of create a signal out in the internet world, and like have a place where, because quite frankly, and you mentioned it's like all of just the negativity out there. and all the bullshit and all the garbage. And I'm not even talking about sales. I'm talking about the trolls. I'm talking about the recreationally outraged folks that love to be keyboard commandos and talk a bunch of shit and really just put out a lot of garbage into the world. And I want a place that I can create something where when people go there, all they read are empowering words and positive things. And I want to create something with this hashtag related to that. And so far we're right here, but we're working on getting right there. But
yeah. I have ideas.
All right. Well, I bet you did. Of course you have an idea. Of course you do.
We'll have to have another burning the business session.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at a later time. But getting back to what he said, at some point the shirts I will get to that. But right now we're doing.
So does anybody have any questions? I've been following in the chat. There's a lot of good, got a lot of confirmation of everyone's liking what we're saying. Anybody have any questions for John or anything? John, anything else you want to share?
I want to see the questions or the comments.
You want to see the questions?
No, I can't see anything. All right.
You'll be able to go back and see it once this posts on Facebook, and then you can kind of engage with everyone there.
That's what I'll. Yeah. Yeah. You mean practice what we preach?
Yeah. Don't just like and say nice post. You'll be judged.
I'm already judging you now if you're thinking about doing that, so don't do it. Arts don't count either.
Arlene is asking where she can see your work, and I was just going to share that. His website is hold on, let me just get it for you. I posted it up before. I'll post it again. Just give me a sec.
Can I want to see.
You can. There's a few ways you can get in touch with him. You can. Here, I put his website and his hashtag into the chat. You can just search on Yeah, Absolutely, and it'll come up with all of his posts. You can go to his website, which is johndemato.com, DEMATO.com, and he's on all the socials, chatting it up.
That's what I do, because I got yelled at to do that, so I listened.
Yes, he wasn't. He was just pushing stuff out there, and that was unacceptable.
Yes.
And buying followers, unacceptable.
Yes. For that, I will forever be grateful for you. I must say, because to be honest, if I did not start leveraging the things that I had at my disposal in the way in which I do now, I wouldn't be ever found. So forever grateful for that. So thank you.
This is my life's work.
I know.
To tell people to shut up and listen.
And the fact of the matter is that the people that you work with are truly getting someone who cares, and not only cares but knows exactly what they're talking about and knows exactly how to get them out there. And it's just a matter of getting out of your own way, taking on the challenge of putting together this presence of being online through listening and being strategic and being vulnerable and being the expert that you are, and putting the whole damn thing together and understanding that you are that beacon that allows them to get into the places that they need to go. And it's a no-brainer. If you are the type of person that's struggling with your presence and trying to be found by people, they need you, period.
Thank you. Yeah, we've become entrepreneurial siblings.
That's right.
So I've had lots of entrepreneurial sisters, daughters. I never had a brother before, so he's my first entrepreneurial brother.
Right. That's right. I'll always be the oldest one, so that I'm taking that with me. But yes, I'm sure there will be others along for the ride.
A good try. So anyway, this was fun. Also, see if you can figure out the difference between a Queens and a Bronx accent. I mean, not a Queens and a Brooklyn accent. Sorry. I did live in the Bronx for a while, but it's funny when we get together. I mean, I think, people that weren't from New York might not understand us because we really start going fast.
And the amount of expletives might be a little bit intimidating to those who don't quite understand where we come from.
Yeah, we start yelling at each other. It's pretty funny. We should really film that one day. But anyway.
Scare the hell out of people.
I am working on filling out the whole agenda for like 12 to 15 weeks of this. It's going to be interviews like this, sharing stories. I've got a whole list of people I'm inviting. I'm not saying any names yet, but I've got some people. And if you know anyone that needs to be invited to be on that list, please let me know. John, any last words before we wrap up?
I just wanted to thank you for this opportunity. I think this is great, and I really look forward to seeing who else you bring on this thing so we can get some really interesting insights from people.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So invite your friends. It's going to be Tuesdays, 1 o'clock Eastern time every week. And connect with John. He's a lot of fun, as you can see, and incredibly talented. And he writes really good stuff, too. And, just model what he's doing, because he really does do social media incredibly well. And, if you need a photographer, you can look at my website. You can look at some other websites. It's good stuff. And go look at his website, and you're going to see some pretty familiar faces there. He really does have a great roster of clients. I'm kind of a little jealous.
You're up there. You're up there. You're in there.
I know. I'm in good company. So just connect with him. He's always around. He's easy to talk to. And thank you for coming to our first episode of All the Good in Social Media. And I hope you enjoyed Italian Breadcrumbs. Have a great Tuesday, everybody.